I want to talk about risk for a couple minutes here. Most people think about risk in completely the wrong ways. I was talking with somebody earlier today who said that their parents had never left really the country they were born in, okay, from Eastern Europe. And the sadness in me is that this person has not, so this person's mother was talking to her and being like, you're so crazy, you take all these risks, you take these new jobs and you try these new business ideas. And what her opinion is, this friend of mine, is, wait a second, I'm not the one taking the risks, you're the one taking the risks. You've been at the same job for 20 or 30 years. You do your job better than anyone else. You've worked yourself out of a position. And this mother actually got laid off, okay? This mother got laid off because she was worth too much money to the company. She was getting paid too much, okay? So they could pay younger people less money to do almost as good a job. Now, what is more risky? I'm going to tell you this right now. Is it more risky depending on yourself? And trust me, you have abilities that go far beyond what you need to be successful in a different area, okay? Is it more risky to trust in yourself and let it depend on you? And you do what you need to do to take care of yourself in business, in relationships, and whatever it is. Or is it more risky to be in a business for 20, 30 years and you've developed a specific skill set? And at the end of 20 or 30 years, you're laid off. And now you're in midlife and you're laid off and you only have one skill and you have no prospects. What is riskier? Listen, I know many people constantly that are being laid off from their jobs. Having a safe, secure job, even a government job. I know people that are laid off from government jobs as governments change. Governments change and start changing some of their red tape and bureaucracy. So some people are laid off, other people are given jobs. Listen, there is no job that, in my opinion, no job that carries more risk than working for somebody else. If you're working for yourself, however, it depends on you. Now, if the economy changes, something goes haywire, it's on you. You can make a difference there. You can take a specific action to get you out of the hole, whatever hole you're in, at any time. That's far less risky, in my opinion, okay, long term. Short term, sure, things are going to be difficult, you're going to be learning, you're going to be making mistakes. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I want to encourage you to become adaptable. I want to challenge you to become flexible. As you become flexible, there are some advantages and disadvantages to this. One disadvantage to this is that it takes a while to become flexible, okay? If you only know one skill and you want to know 5 skills, well, guess what? You're going to have to take some time to learn them. And you're not going to be proficient in everything right away, okay? So it takes a little while. Secondly, people will call you nuts. Some people will say, hey, you need to settle down. You're already 22 and a half years old. You need to have your life figured out. That's garbage. That's garbage. Most people don't know what they're doing until at least their 30s, mid-30s, okay? And even past that, that's where people start to learn. A lot of people don't know until their mid-40s, mid-50s what they really are passionate and what they want to do. So if you are younger than your mid-50s and you start realizing what you want to do, you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of most people, and you can carve out a niche for yourself. Become adaptable. What are the advantages? All of a sudden you can adapt and start to work with a whole bunch of situations. I'm going to give you a really quick example of this. I lived in China for 8 years. One thing that I loved about China, I love the food and culture. Those are probably my 2 favorites. But besides that, one thing that I really loved was how flexible everyone is. Everyone adapts to everything. There are traffic lights, but very few people obey them, at least when I was there in the cities that I was living in, because people use their common sense. They're flexible. So if somebody has their nose in front of them, they stop, because they're going to run into them. And so the traffic flows like water. It's fantastic to see. Another example with China is that I would be working for a school, and like in North America, we've got our calendars out like a year or 2 in advance. We know the dates and everything that's happening, and things don't change typically. In China, schools would change their dates sometimes that afternoon for the evening. We're not doing this, we're doing this. You're not doing this, you're doing this. And as a teacher, you would simply have to fall in line and do it. So I was on my toes all the time, which was brilliant. Why? Because it was always fun? No, it wasn't always fun, okay? It challenged me all the time. But in learning those skills, what it had taught me was that I can roll with anything. Somebody can throw at me something my way and say, this is falling apart. You've got an event tonight. You've got something going on today, whatever, this week, and it's falling apart. What are we going to do? And while everyone else is freaking out, I'm able to take action. I'm able to still get things done. What is more risky? Is it more risky to rely on yourself and develop yourself and be ready for anything that comes your way? Or is it riskier to work in some static position, learning one skill and being laid off at some point in time and being stressed because you have no clue what you're going to do and no clue where you're going to go. What I want you to do right now, as far as I always try to give action steps, right? What I want you to do right now is think about this a little bit and go, wait a second, what do I need to learn to make myself a little more flexible? It might be in relationships, it might be with work. I'm using work examples, but it might also be with, I don't know, physical health. It might be with holidays. It might be with whatever, okay? Think about the way you communicate with people. Maybe you need to become more flexible with that. As you become more flexible, you become far more valuable, not only to clients, not only to businesses, but also to the people around you. You're gonna have better relationships with people. You're gonna have a better body that you're happy with, okay? And I'm talking about how it looks. I'm talking about how you feel. Practice this, try it. Write down one thing. Don't write down 5 things. Write down one thing that you need to take action on, and then just start to do it, okay? Say, this is one of my goals for the next 2 months. I'm gonna research this week, and then I'm gonna start to take some action in this way. And enjoy the process.